Oh, me name is Bob the Swagman, and I hope you understand. I've seen many ups and downs while travelling through the land. I once was well-to-do, me lads, but now I'm so hard up, and I've got forced to go on rations in an old bark hut.
In an old bark hut, in an old bark hut. I'm forced to go on rations in an old bark hut.
10 pounds of flour, 10 pounds of beef, some sugar and some tea. That's all they'll give a hungry man until the 7th day. If you don't be mighty sparing, you'll go with a hungry gut. That's one of the great misfortunes of the old bark hut.
In an old bark hut, in an old bark hut. It's one of the great misfortunes of the old bark hut.
The bucket I wash me feet in has to cook me tea and stew, which day I was getting mighty flash if I should ask for two. The table's just a piece of bark, God knows when it was cut. It was blown from off the rafters in the old bark hut.
In the old bark hut, in the old bark hut. It was blown from off the rafters in the old bark hut.
I've had the rain come pouring through just like the perfect flood, especially through the great big hole where once the table stood. It leaves me not a single spot where I can lay me nut. So I have to rain will find me in the old bark hut.
In the old bark hut, in the old bark hut. The rain is sure to find me in the old bark hut.
Beside the fire I lay me down, wrapped up in 2 old rugs. But it seems to lure the bugs, and all I've got for company is the poor old collie mutt. So I use her for a pillow in the old bark hut.
In the old bark hut, in the old bark hut. I use her for a pillow in the old bark hut.
Oh, now I've sung my little song as nicely as I could. I hope the ladies present will not find my language rude. And all you handsome boys and girls around me growing up, remember Bob the Swagman and his old bark hut.
In the old bark hut, in the old bark hut. Remember Bob the Swagman in the old bark hut.
I suppose I should start at the beginning, so you know who I am. My name is Isabel Dunsmore. My mum and dad lived on Macleay Island with my maternal grandmother and grandfather and my uncle, Bill Lovell. 6 of us in a tiny wooden house on 28 acres of red dirt. Corroboree is where we would row across to my Uncle Bob and Percy's house on Lamb Island. Mum would walk me across the Lucas Passage at low tide to clean the uncle's houses. Those Lovell men wouldn't recognise a bar of soap between them. You can count my grandmother in on that too. But my mum always wore a starched apron over her homemade cotton dresses. She was known as Mrs. Dunsmore, never Emmy. People knew me as the girl that was born on the Cleveland Jetty in 1924. I'd look down at my feet when they'd say it, or up in the trees, but never at their faces. It's only now, as I tell you this, that I could still feel the shame I must have brought upon my mother. How did she feel being in labour aboard Uncle Bob's boat Dove and being dumped on the Cleveland Jetty for everyone to see her give birth? When I was young, I was forever running through the long grass to get to Russell Island Primary School. I was 5 when I started, with sometimes 6 other kids from Macleay and Lamb Island. Sammy Hall had the boat. His launch was safe. It had a roof, and we all had a seat, and it never rocked. Oh, I'd pick up my smoke pot when I came back from school. Anyone around lit those pots for us kids before Sammy tied up at the jetty. The mozzies were horrendous. Black swarms covered our backs, but the midgies, well, they were the worst. My dog Spot chased his tail and yelped at the rotters. But my mum said, when she first came to the island, the sand fleas got into her bed, so she had to grow marigolds, which she spread apart to put between the sheets and the mattress. I had a horse. I used to ride around the farm and anywhere, really. Neddy. She was tied up on Parulpa Island when she wasn't pulling a plough. The bore water was salty, so it couldn't be used on the tomatoes or the beans or the cucumbers, but Neddy didn't mind. And those men, they built a corduroy road between the farm and Parulpa Island, made out of tea trees laid side by side. I'd take off on Neddy and visit my friend Peggy. This one day, we rode to steal grapes from Leo Kustrig's swampy banana farm. Jackie Crampton and Ted Chaplin worked there. They helped us look for Neddy's bridle, which must have come off somewhere in the black swampy water. Whew. I was in big trouble when I got home. My mum took away the kerosene lantern for 3 nights. I had to come straight home from school in the light and do my homework. No playing. I wish Mum had let me keep that kerosene lantern and done away with the lumpy custard and salty grey corned beef instead. Food, if that's what you could call it. Came in on the fruit boats from Brisbane, and it was always hot from being on deck. Oof, powdered milk, salty meat in brine, sacks of sugar and flour. They were wet sometimes. But those sacks, well, they did make good Bombay bloomers, which is what Mum called her homemade knickers. Scratchy. I had some, but I'd take them off before school. Until Neville Blum spilled the beans. Then all the boys tried to look up my skirt. I had shorts too. I liked those. They came down to my knees. I'd wear them when I went fishing off the jetty. I'd catch flathead, whiting too, if they were running. My mum sewed on a treadle singer. Whenever she unpicked anything, she saved that thread. For hand stitching and darning. Back then, everything was saved. We kept syrup tins for smoked pots, paper bags, rubber bands, cereal boxes, everything. Everything was reused. And there was no toilet paper back then either. Newspaper was hung on a hook above the sawdust in the lab. We'd hoy that sawdust into the bottomless pit. The snakes terrified me. I'd hear them slithering out of that sawdust, and I'd perch on the seat and I'd scream out for Uncle Bill. And then I had a gazunder for the nightlies. Those pots were emptied on the citrus trees. The men's job. My daughter Robbie and granddaughter Leonie, well, he wrote a book about my childhood here. They used photographs that old Mr. Mayers took of the farm and of the fruit boats unloading. In other family photos, we look a gormless lot, standing like matchsticks, faces full of stress, legs stained with red dirt. I don't know who took them. In one of the photos, I thought I recognised the shadow of the photographer's hat. It looked an awful lot like my Uncle Purselovel's hat. He worked as a clerk at the customs house and he had a quid or few, so he probably owned a camera. Those films, back in those days, they were developed in Brisbane or the Gold Coast, and this was always stamped on the back of the photos. When I went to the book launch of Isabel, people made a fuss of me. This gentleman came up to Robbie and he asked to speak to me. It was my old school friend, Richard Field. Later, when I went back to the nursing home, I was exhausted from the long drive and all the attention. I lay in my bed and I thought about my dad. He was run off the island by the Lovell men when I was 3. I never did know what that was all about. I wished my dad's sister, my Auntie Grace, had told me, but in those days, well, children didn't ask questions. I did ask my mother once if she ever had any other children. She said she had a boy by the water, and he only lived for 1 day. That was in 1927, the same year my dad left the island. I thought about my niece, Norma Baton. She was at the launch. And her dad, Owen. He's gone now. And she's in her 50s. Owen and Ted and Bob Chaplin, they owned land together on Macleay Island. And when Owen was called up for the war, well, the Chaplin boys drew short straws to see who won the land, and Ted Chaplin won. Both those Chaplin boys ended up in the war. And when I finished high school, I worked at the Black Cat News Agency in Albert Street. And Bob Chaplin came in one day and bought a casket ticket. We married in 1942 and had 5 girls. But that, well, that's another story.
What shall we do with a drunken sailor? What shall we do with a drunken sailor? What shall we do with a drunken sailor? Early in the morning, way, hey, and up she
she rises, way hey, and up she rises, way hey, and up she rises early in the morning.
Shave his belly with a rusty razor, shave his belly with a rusty razor, shave his belly with a rusty razor early in the morning.
Way hey, and up she rises, way hey, and up she rises, way hey, and up she rises early in the morning.
Put him in a longboat till he's sober. Put him in a longboat till he's sober. Put him in a longboat till he's sober early in the morning.
Oh, way hey, and up she rises, way hey, and up she rises, way hey, and up she rises early in the morning.
Stick him in the scupper with the hose pipe on him. Stick him in the scupper with the hose pipe on him. Stick him in the scupper with the hose pipe on him. Early in the morning.
Oh, way hey, and up she rises, way hey, and up she rises, way hey, and up she rises early in the morning.
That's what we do with a drunken sailor.
That's what we do with a drunken sailor. That's what we do with a drunken sailor early in the morning. Way hey, and up she rises, way hey, and up she rises, way hey, and up she